Good afternoon. I'm former State Senator Erica Smith, and I'm candidate for U.S. Senate. I grew up in Eastern North Carolina. I've served Chuan County, Washington County, Tyrrell County in my Senate districts. And so this is a regional love that I have for Elizabeth City. Also, Elizabeth City State University is so important to our economic dollars and our economic power in northeastern North Carolina. So I just want you to know I've been here for 5 marches and I'm going to keep coming. I want to commend you for staying so vigilant. It is so important that we fight for justice for Andrew Brown Jr.'s family, and also know that we stand with you in solidarity. We're going to help you out. We want to talk to Rivers about some donations to help you in your initiatives, because y'all have been in these streets, you've been in here fighting, you've been marching for justice, and we're just here to join you on today.
Release the tape! Release the tape! The real tape!
Hey buddy, how you doing, man? Kirk, nice to meet you.
Appreciate the work y'all doing, brother. Appreciate the work. A lot of what I do has been fighting against police brutality, police misconduct. I was a spokesperson for Alton Sterling's family in 2016 when he was killed by the police in Baton Rouge. And so I fully appreciate and respect what y'all doing. 47 days straight is admirable, brother, and necessary, you know, and inspiring. So, you know, whatever we can do to help elevate what's going on with Andrew Brown's case, that's what we're here for. In support of Erica, and you know, she's who helped bring more attention to it to me. And so, tell us, basically for the folks that will watch this video, you know, how the community here in Elizabeth City feels about the murder of Andrew Brown, and why you guys have been marching for the last 47 days.
Well, the key is that we feel disrespected. And we feel disrespected because of the fact that the sheriff has chosen not to talk to us. The sheriff has chosen not to talk to us, meet with us, but yet he's an elected official. And that's disrespectful. I mean, no other way you can put it. I guess maybe he feels that because we don't have titles, or we're not maybe the right color or right economic, that they feel like they don't have to talk to us. And so, but we've been consistent for 47 days, so he see that we're not going nowhere, and we're going to be right here to have conversation with him on what we can do to make Pasquotank County better, and that this does not happen no more, or we put the tools in place that if this does happen, we won't have the same chaos that we've had ever since this has taken place. And so the more national attention that we bring to it, the more that people are able to understand that this could happen to every community. And until, I would have never known that the DA had this much power in the state of North Carolina until this took place. So wherever you at, you need to check to see if your state can have the governor and the attorney general to override, or not even override, but to put in special prosecution. So this doesn't happen in wherever the next place this happens at. It's got to be tools. The law, we need to be checking every law in every state, so that way you don't have to go through what we went through here from the family not being able to see the tape. That's just
20 seconds redacted. And
right. And they chose what the family could see.
Mm-hmm.
So
what can the country do? What can the country do to help?
Well, continue to support us like they've been doing, from marching in their local to bring attention to the case here. But definitely we need to start researching these laws to make sure that the family, if the taxpayers are paying for the video cameras,
that's right,
the body cameras, then how can the taxpayers, and I'm not even being that selfish, the family, so it's bigger. So we're not trying to make it so small that, you know, people say we're being what's the word I'm looking for? Or we're being hardcore. We're trying to ask for the moon, knowing that we're not going to get it. We're just asking for simple things, and that's what we want to see.
That's not really the moon. That's like, that's human decency.
That's
public records.
Yeah.
You know, literally, it is a public record, right? And so the public should be able to see what the taxpayers are paying for. If these are our police officers, that you pay for with your tax dollars, then the actions that those police officers take should be accountable to the people, as well as if we pay for the footage, then the community, the family has a right to see that footage, and any person impeding that is wrong.
Right.
It's wrong. You know.
So that's why it's a national. I mean, that's a simple. And I think even when you just talked about that, where you from? I mean, what Louisiana just had it. Where 2 years later, from the state troopers, they just released the
we're
tape.
Still dealing with that.
And look what 2 years. 2 years. They painted their narrative that something else took place.
He said he drove into a tree. He got in a wreck.
And then what they do? Then 2 years later, the tapes come out, and it showed a completely different
And
thing.
if we pay for body cameras and you don't reveal them, then there's no benefit to that because the transparency is not there. And at the end of the day, whenever the government takes the life of a citizen, the government has a responsibility to let the general public know what happened when that citizen's life was taken. That's only fair.
It's transparency and accountability, and we can't have justice until we have that.
That's right.
And we're looking at what happened with Ronald Green in Louisiana. It took 2 years for his family to know what really happened when he died, his last day. You look at what the videotape showed about George Floyd. And how we have justice for him, and we've got a call for the passing the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But on every level, local level, it starts local. We got to look at who we're putting in these offices. Look at your DA. It's the district attorney who has a lot of power to determine who gets justice in this judicial system. And so we've really got to fight with that. We need accountability from our sheriff's departments, from our police departments, and the body cam videos. I like that North Carolina, we have the law that you must turn on your video camera. You've got to turn on your body cam when you are engaging the public. But now we need the release of that. We need full transparency and accountability.
And you just hit
So
nail on the head.
thank you for fighting for that.
Oh no, we got to work together, and that's where it takes from Louisiana to Northampton County to Pasquotank County because
All over this nation.
you just need to know, because when it comes to your community and or when it's your son or your brother or that's
don't
when
want
everyone
somebody to
wants to
catch you.
come out, but at the end of the day, we have to try to keep it from being our brother.
That's right.
I don't want it to happen to my brother, so I can be out here now, just like you're down here now. You just don't want it to happen to somebody else's son. But if we all get out here and do exactly what you said, look at the electability, then we put these laws in place, and it's not a Democrat, and that's where I think people try to divide us, right here in Elizabeth City. Everybody wants to deal with or make the issue his past. Get away from his past. If that was your son,
His past has nothing to do with what took place in the moment that happened. And one of the things that I think that we allow law enforcement and people to do is shift the narrative, right? At the end of the day, his past had nothing to do with what took place in the seconds that took his life. And what we're examining is, did the officers conduct themselves in a way that is befitting for the job that we paid them to do? And if you did not, then you must be held accountable for that. The same way you were there to hold him accountable for other offenses, right? And if he has allegedly done those things, then the way that you deal with that is in the court of law, right? Not on the side of the street, not shooting somebody in the back of the head. And at the end of the day, you know, for me, what's so egregious about this conversation is a man was shot in the back of the head. We're not talking about somebody who, you know, if you'd have shot him up in his chest because the car was coming at you, that's one thing. But clearly, if he is fleeing, he is no longer a threat to you because you shot him in the back of the head. That is the proof that I have to know that he was not a threat to you. And so if he was not a threat to you, let him drive away, and then we deal with this situation later where we can make sure that nobody loses their life. Everybody gets to go home to their family, because I want cops to go home too. I want you to go home to your kids the same way I want to go home to my daughter, right? And I don't want anybody's son or daughter to have to go through this anywhere in this country, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian American, whatever you are, you deserve to be able to return to your family. That's it.
And that's so key. So that's why when I speak to people like they want to do the support the blue. If someone breaks into my house tonight, I will call 911, and I expect for the police officer to come and do what our taxpayer dollars are paying them to do.
Right.
So that's why I try to tell people, we're not anti-police. We're just saying, that's why when you asked earlier, what are we asking for? Release the tapes to the family. They have the right to. Then just like you just begin to talk right there. There's so many different things that just, and to a lot of people who are sitting there saying, oh, you're wrong, you're seeing it from, you're not looking at it from the police. I tell them, okay, two things. I don't understand what it feels like to have a baby. But when I ask my wife, she tells me the pain, and I have to listen and learn from what she told me. So when we talk to white people who sit there and are, so y'all are wrong, he had a record, that's what, he was this, okay. Still, the family should have the decency, and every human being should have the decency to say, let the family see what really took place. Then the second thing, right, even a simple thing right after that, everyone, if you are an American citizen, are supposed to have your day in court.
Yes.
We don't expect for somebody to
And
be
you're innocent until proven guilty.
You don't expect for someone to come and do what? Be the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
We got to take away the law enforcement's ability to just brutalize and vandalize property, kill people for these simple offenses. At the end of the day, you know, that one does not equate to the other. One does not equate to the other. And the other thing is, why you the Cowboys? What like what are we doing? You know?
And even in this county, the sheriff. Okay, we in the city of police, and that's where I always have to bring people.
What's the sheriff's name?
Sheriff's department is totally. The sheriff don't even do those type of. They don't even do those type of assaults. I mean, I guess what's the word? Make those arrests. The Elizabeth City Police Department, if there's a warrant out for me right now, and the sheriff decide, they're gonna send the Elizabeth City Police Department to come get me.
To issue the warrant.
If I'm a bad guy or anything, they're not gonna do it. They're gonna sit there and get the Elizabeth City Police Department because this is the city of Elizabeth City. So it's more to, we're just skimming on the top. Mm-hmm. But the key is, what did Andrew Brown really know? Everything we were just talking then was being law-abiding and things of that nature. They went there to kill Andrew Brown, okay?
And that's
because you don't even call. They never called the Elizabeth City Police Department, okay? If they were coming to get me and I was supposed to be 10 guns or whatever I might have in my house, and they have that, they'll call the Elizabeth City Police Department, say, have the 911, the ambulance on standby. We're going over to Kirk Rivers' house at blah, blah, blah address, and we're gonna arrest him. Everybody's on standby. They've already let the police department know, so that way, when 911, because the call goes across that. They did none of that. Did not notify the Elizabeth City Police Department at all. 100% of all the cases they've ever had always notified the Elizabeth City Police Department. Did not do that. Did not notify the ambulance, the ambulance service. So in case, if he was such a big, whatever they perceived him to be, they would have had the ambulance there for their officers. Because if you go in there with 10 officers deep and you expect for him, if it's going to be a shootout, they go ahead and alert the ambulance so they can be in the area. None of that was done. They just painted this narrative because they saw the tape first. They know what they did was wrong. And
now they have to cover it up.
That's the reason why. And they just think that we're going to be here short game. They probably thought that we were going to be a moment. But this has been a movement, and that's what we always say. So this is a movement. We're not here. And so we prepared to go 300 days if we got to. We'll go 2, 3, 4, 400.
We're gonna try to help make some noise so you don't have to stay in the streets that much longer.
That's we appreciate it.
Thank you,
We
my brother.
appreciate you. We appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.